BZTV, presented by HIKARI, is in Tampa Bay, Florida, where we're with Christopher Watts at Norton's Tampa Bay Fishery. Christopher,
My pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Sure.
Give us an idea of the scope, how many ponds, and give us an idea what it takes to set this thing up.
Well, this is about a 10-acre tract of land, and there are approximately 80 ponds on this farm. This farm was dug in the 1980s. It was originally an orange grove. The ponds are approximately about 70 feet long and about 30 feet wide, about 8 feet deep at their deepest point. Now, if you look over here, you're actually going down about 3 feet. And you can see the level of those trees right there at that tree nursery, that we're actually a little bit above that.
So when you dug the holes for the ponds, we're actually standing on the dirt that was taken out of those holes.
That's correct.
What happens, because sometimes unfortunately you get some bad weather,
right.
A tropical storm or a hurricane comes through, what happens with the water levels of the ponds?
Well, living in here in Florida, it's a yearly thing for us. Between tropical storms, tropical depressions, and hurricanes. So what we've done in the farming community is that we go through when an event is coming and we preemptively start pumping down all the ponds.
Chris, this is one of 80, and you say it's populated with?
This is populated with gouramis. It's an air-breathing fish. It's a labyrinth fish. It's very popular in the hobby. It's a good beginner fish. If you see the popping coming up, the fish are actually coming up here and grabbing a gulp of air.
Do you have any idea of the amount of fish in here?
Typically, it's probably 10 to 15,000 fish in a pond like this. Now, I'm going to put a little food in here. It's very important that people understand that the fish, just like people are what they eat, fish are what they eat too. And so it's really important that you feed them a high quality food. We feed a commercial food here on the farm, but when the fish come in, you want to feed an appropriate diet, something that's been formulated for tropical fish, a high quality diet, something like HIKARI, something that's a high-end line like that, because you want to make sure that you give the fish the absolute best nutrition that you can get.
Now, how many times a day are these fish fed?
They're usually fed once a day, and the food that's in here will also stimulate natural pond productivity. The microorganisms that are in the pond, there's a food chain that's going on. One size organism eats a little smaller organism. The next organism above that eats that organism, and at some point the fish will then feed on, it could be Daphnia, if they're really small fish, fry when we put them in, they're feeding on rotifers. Part of the process is keeping the pond green, keeping a nice algae bloom on the pond.
How often are there ponds here in the farm that aren't being used? Because you've got 80 of them. Are you trying to keep them active with life most of the time?
Yes. With the current economy and the way things have been going, the trends that have been going in the last 5 or 10 years, you want to increase efficiencies. So each one of these is a production unit. So you want to maximize the amount of fish that you get out of this, and as many times as you can do that a year.
Mark, obviously having fish of this quality, quality showfish, you have to feed them something healthy. Tell us what you kind of give your girls.
Well, we actually usually feed a combination of different foods. One of the foods that we feed at different times, it depends on the water temperatures, is we'll feed some HIKARI food. And the biggest thing you got to understand there on your foods, you don't buy good quality fish and feed them a cheap food. One of the things we kind of look for is we look for waste in the pond. If we're feeding a food that we see a lot of waste in the pond, then we kind of question that, but we don't have that problem with the HIKARI foods.
Now, is it easy to tell once you say you give them some HIKARI food, can you tell that their coloration is better? Is that big of a difference? Like if you give some cheap food, can you see a washout a little bit on the fish?
That, and sometimes people want to feed too many of the color foods, and then what you will start seeing, the whites kind of yellow up and everything.
Chris, what's this massive contraption we're holding, and why?
This is called a seine, and this is one of the ways we harvest our fish. The seines come in various meshes depending on the size fish. This is a finer mesh net for smaller fish. Now, the way the seine is set up, this top line is called a cork line, and the bottom line is called a lead line. This is the way the seine works is that this drags across the bottom of the pond, and the fish swim inside the seine, and eventually you box them on the end of the seine. What we're going to do is we would drag this like this. We would actually be in the bottom, we'd be in the pond down here on the water level. And then at the end, what we would do when we get to the very end there, we would then encircle the fish, and you've seen this on TV where it's like a purse seine or something. You then squat down and you feed that lead line in till you consolidate those fish all in one area, and then with the nets, you bring the fish in, and we have trucks that we collect the fish in with big styrofoam boxes. From out here, we take them into the building, which we'll see in just a little while.
So I would imagine that using the seine here, you're probably about, 95% reliable catching fish.
We usually get most of the fish on the first pass. What we'll do is pump a pond down to get the fish consolidated into a smaller volume of water. And usually with the second pass, you get almost everything you need.
EcoBiostones clear water nature's way. They're an easy-to-use, continual source of beneficial bacteria living and multiplying in the stones to keep your aquarium clean and clear for up to 2 years, reducing the need for water changes and maintenance. EcoBiostones are available in 2 sizes for your fish, turtle, or reptile tanks. EcoBiostones for clear water and healthy fish.
Chris, we saw the part where the fish come from the pond.
Right.
When you extract them from the pond, they come here. What do we call this room?
This is called a vat room. And the reason we call it a vat room is these containers here are in the industry called vats. Now what they actually are burial vaults. What happens is the fish come from the field, we bring them in here and kind of cure them out a little bit.
Explain these because they're very colorful.
This is actually a green tiger barb, but this is a very, very colorful fish.
So they're a tiger barb.
They are a tiger barb.
That has had color added to it.
Well, actually it says it's a gene that is going to express itself in this color.
Wow, they're colorful. Now these basically then have the same characteristics of a tiger barb.
Absolutely, same behavioral characteristics. The color is actually throughout the flesh, so it's not just something, it's just not an external coloration.
With the tiger barbs, this color, are there ideas, are there plans for different colors down the road?
Absolutely. You can see if you can apply this fish with the Danios that are out there now. There are reds, there are oranges, there are greens, blues, purples. There's also a green tetra, and there are obviously, because the industry this is a high demand fish in the industry, there are plans to expand the color line.
And these are no way, no shape, are they dyed or anything like that?
No.
Chris, these are Jack Dempsey's, which you obviously have brought, again, from the pond over to here.
That's correct. So typically when we stock a pond, we'll stock a pond with this size or just a little bit smaller fish. Once we get the fish here and we've cured them out for a few days, we do prophylactic parasite treatments, make sure the fish are nice and clean. We'll pick the order and then take it over to our processing building.
Chris, this is the shipping room. So you take, like the grammies here that we saw in the pond, they go in the vat room, they come here. How long are they in the shipping room?
Well, this is about 100 fish. And these are 10-gallon tanks. This is what most people in the shipping industry use is a 10-gallon aquarium. So there's 100 blue gouramis in this tank. And this is an order that is going to be shipped out tomorrow.
So the unique thing about a fish farm is these gouramis were basically born, bred, raised, and they're shipped from here, all under one 10-acre facility.
Right, but also we're within about a 20-mile radius of a lot of other fish farms.
So under the farm or the fish farm heading, sometimes other farms will bring it to one designated shipping room.
That's correct.
So not every fish farm has a shipping room.
That's true. Frank, now what we have here is a group of plecos, and I want the people to see the scale of what we do here. These tanks are all 2-inch plecos, some are 3-inch plecos. A little bit further down, the customer has asked for some African cichlids.
Now again, this is where a customer can specify specifically what size they want, what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
Chris, thanks for the tour.
Oh, hey, my pleasure.
Great place. It's the first time I've ever really been to a fish farm.
Well, hopefully we'll have you back again.
So thank you very much. Right. I'd say now that we're done filming, you and I go out in the ponds and see if we can maybe catch a couple fish.
There you go.
That's why I like filming Blue Zoo TV, presented by HIKARI. I get to do all the fun stuff.
If you need aquatic products, check out these Blue Zoo TV sponsors. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter @Blue Zoo Radio.